Welcome to Pass It On, Connecting Soul to Soul, a podcast introducing you to courageous souls. These people are taking their spark in life and passing it on, lighting their corner of the world. I'm your host, Tammy Stuhr, best-selling author, speaker, and CEO of Author My Day, a company inspiring courage. I interview people about how they exercise their courage muscle and use their story to inspire you to live with a courageous heart. Let's get started with today's guest. Welcome to the podcast. Today I have with me Debbi Sluys. She is from Dare to Declare. She is the CEO of a vision board company. And Debbi has changed my life with a single question. Everybody, I want you to meet Debbi Sluys. Debbi, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. And I just got goosebumps. That's so powerful. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Debbi, do you remember what the question is that you changed my life with?
I think it went something like, what would millionaire Tammy do?
You're right. And the way you phrased it at that time was, what would the $1 million Debbi do? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what a question that just is a game changer. So tell me a little bit about that journey that helped you get to that question.
That's a great question. And actually, I was on a mastermind call today, and Tam and I both have Jack Canfield in common. And I remember being in interview with him in 2021, and I asked him, like, tell me, is there a tip, advice? And he said, get into a mastermind. So, I mean, that's one of the things where I've had my quantum leap. But I was in my mastermind this morning, and we were talking about high ticket and low ticket offers. And, this idea of value, like, do you just, push your product out the door at a really low ticket price? And this is like in terms of the coaching. And I said to her, it was me only say 4 years ago. Yeah, going on 4 years ago, who just about threw up at paying $3,000 for a coaching program. That was a huge stretch. I came from the not-for-profit world. Everything was budgeted and I'm from Dutch descent, and I don't mean this insulting to anybody from Dutch descent, but we are known as being frugal. And, I was raised as I was in a minister's daughter family, so always lived off the graces of the church. So just always watched my pennies, And so I have stretched really far in a really short period of time, but it takes that muscle of understanding the universal laws. And I'm a Christian, so I'm going to speak in that term. It's truly, am I living as a Christian in this idea of infinite supply, of knowing that not the universe has my back, but God has my back? Like, that's so much bigger because he's the one who created the universe. So that's been a bit of my journey, going from, to now spending, last year I spent $110,000 on personal development in 1 year. So, that's been a big stretch. But in order to receive those kind of results, in order to be that $1 million Deb, how does she invest in herself? How does she invest in her company? How does she invest in those around her? And that vision needed to be stretchy and to get uncomfortable.
I know you enough to know that there's something you want to do with those $1 million that goes way beyond who Debbi is. So what is that?
It is definitely to serve. And 2 years ago, I had my first academy retreat. So these are the people that I also have my own train the trainer program. So they're doing vision boarding. And we did it a hybrid of live. So some, like I do have some Canadian graduates. So they came to my in-person studio, which is built specifically for vision boards. And then we streamed in people, like I have clients in Ireland and the UK, as far as Dubai and South Africa. And then at the end, just actually like last weekend, they gave me a toast, like, as a thank you. And it caught me off guard. And I realized, wow, this has become a legacy business. I didn't set out to create a legacy business. I set out to create a business that would be fun, that would impact people, change their lives and creating visions for their life. But then the Train the Trainer program, I realized, oh, like God just took this, what I'm doing, and it's like the throwing the pebble in the pond, and the ripples just got farther out. So, um, I've always had a heart for children. My background is in early years.
Right.
And so definitely want to see more youth have exposure and impact through creating the vision. I also have a podcast, and it's relatively new, just like yours.
Uh-huh.
And what I am noticing, I'm interviewing a lot of giant manifestors.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm noticing is that they tell me that some adults spoke, poured into them at a young age, that gave them a vision for what was possible. Could have been a teacher, a grandparent, parent. One gentleman was saying that his dad, like this guy, admired somebody, and he's like, he puts his pants on the same way that you and I do. Like, just kind of brought down the person off the pedestal to the human that that person was, to say you can do that too. And so I love that idea of self-image, around creating this idea of self at a very young age. We talk so much about, we've got to fix so much of us as adults, because we've got all these paradigms and all this garbage that happened to us as kids, and all these beliefs. So imagine if you can create and set that trajectory for that child, for that young teen or tween, that they can see themselves as successful, as purpose driven, as a contributor, bigger than maybe their current circumstances. So that's really where my heart is to, I don't know the how yet, how that's all going to happen, but I know you have a heart for kids with your books, and you know what I'm talking about, around how stories that you provide kids through your books, and how those impact also how they think about others, but most importantly themselves.
Debbie, this is just so fascinating because my dream that I'm working on right now has, let me go the right way with this book here, Jax Finds His Talent, is really about helping second and third graders name, own, and claim their talent. Because when I surveyed fourth through 12th graders, only 20% could name a talent, but 100% of second graders can name their talent. Yeah. And I'm talking just in person. Hey, what's your talent? As I was, visiting schools or talking at career fairs. And I just started keeping track right away that first time after I had asked the second graders, and they all raised their hand to tell me their talent. I didn't even ask for it. And they were so excited about it. And it really brought me back to that feeling of identity, that somehow we're losing identity. But so many of the research studies show that by age 8, so many of our formations of how we think in life are formed. So many of like what we want to do in life. If you watch a child play, you can pretty much guess what they're going to be for a career, or at least kind of the path. Like my granddaughter right now, she's always carrying a baby around, and or a baby doll. So I know that there's a really good chance. And so as you're saying this, and I think about our paths crossing and the influence you had on me that day I walked into the hotel in Nashville, and how I was struck by you, and like and awestruck. And I'm like, we were brought together for a reason, because what I'm doing at the beginning end and what you're doing at the tail end, I think there's something here that we're going to fill in together in the middle.
Mm, beautiful. Yes, I agree. I love that idea. Little ones, like, you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be the queen. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, it's not like, well, where's your rocket ship, dude? Like, no, nobody, they don't need the how. It's like, I want, I will be. And then, as you said, somewhere along the way, that gets taken, and the doubts and all of those things fill in. So to foster that is so beautiful that you're doing that work. And it makes me think about one of the workshops that I have that's called a power word, a single word
Yes.
power word workshop. I actually did it with Patty Aubrey at a retreat in September. And it's so incredible. I actually did it with a grade 6 class, so a little bit older than your
Mhm.
2 to 3, but they were like 11 years old. And for one, they think I'm the goddess of stickers. So that was like pretty fun. Mrs. Sluys, you have so many stickers. And then I gave them this provocation. Instead of asking them if they had all the time and money in the world, what would they do? Because that's an adult provocation that I give. Most kids don't really care about time. Like they're always, if they're having fun, they're not going to stop, but they don't look at the clock. In money, some children understand the value. So what I did was I asked the kids, if you had all the help in the world, what would you do to make it a better place? And the answers were phenomenal. Then towards the end of the workshop, I had this little guy come up to me and he's like, Mrs. Sluice, I can't find my word. And I said, all right, like, let's go back to that first exercise. What did you decide? And he said, well, he said, you know how there's some diseases that don't have cures? And I said, yes. And he said, I think those cures, we can find them in the ocean.
Wow.
I did that too. And I'm like, whoa. I said, you sound like you're an explorer or an adventurer. He said, I am an explorer. And he walked away, head held high, shoulders back. Like, imagine having that kind of identity, like taking that in. I am an explorer. Do you think he's going to eventually find cures in the ocean? I would say the likely is pretty high. Like he's
Right.
already set that. And can you imagine how many people will benefit? So I just think this work is so powerful by what you're doing, which is discovering what their talents are, having them declare it. And recently I've been thinking about the word declaring as a promise.
Oh,
And
neat.
yeah. And if you look in biblical terms, it's like declarations, it was declared and it was a commitment, it was a promise. And so when we declare what it is that we want, we are actually essentially making a promise to ourselves. And so when you're having the children declare their talents, it's like they're promising, I'm not going to forget this. I'm not going to lose this. This is who I am. So
Wow.
awesome.
Wow. So I've been through um vision boarding workshops several times, actually taught creating a vision board, never spending more than an hour on it. And this is kind of looking rough right now, but this is my current vision board. And what I find phenomenal about this is I have the word courageous here. And I did this a year ahead of changing the branding of my business to the Courage Coach.
Mm.
And I didn't even know that that was possible. But what I find out interesting about
Look
this
on the
is you can
top what you
see,
just have. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
yeah,
I didn't even know that was possible. Look at your word on the top.
all things are possible. And so this was through a Jack Canfield workshop that I did. And then I started doing your vision board workshop as a gift to myself for my birthday. And I stopped in my tracks because I realized I have such goosebumps. I realized that the way you changed my life that day in Nashville when I saw you in your pink, which I'm wearing this in honor of you because you were wearing your pink outfit that day. When I opened up and listened to your first video to work on my vision board, I realized that, oh man, my life's about to change again. I had no idea this was coming. Thank goodness I
Ah, you're
edited
gonna
all
make
this
me.
out.
don't stop. I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying that as your friend, but as a coach, you can cry all you like, but oh, you're gonna make me cry.
When you had us write what we would say to our 16-year-old self,
Mm.
it set that experience up for something that I said, oh, when I realized what I would say to my 16-year-old self, it changed my whole perspective and how I was going to this vision board. Normally, I walk into the room, they hand out a bunch of magazines, find out things you want. And I realized that what you do isn't about cutting other people's lives out of magazines. It is about going into your heart, where I believe courage lies, which I'm going to ask you that question. But I realize that you have found a formula to go into your heart to something that was planted in way earlier years and bring it out. And then I realized I'm going to do this over 3 days, taking a little bit each day. And I realized that you were put in to my life to bring something out of my heart. Number one, how did you come up with this? And how did you have the courage to step outside cutting up magazines, which people find acceptable, to what you built with Dare to Declare?
Hmm. When I look back, I tick all the boxes. Now they kind of weren't in the right order, maybe, but based on how to do this. And I truly did it instinctively. It was through my intuition. I followed my intuition. And so that's the short answer of that piece. But I love what you just said about not cutting other people's lives out of magazines, which actually one of the distinguishing features. So I as you're going through this course, my online course, is I ask people to put a photo of themselves in a happy time. So not with your family, not with your spouse, just you, which many women do not have, because either they're behind the camera or they only ever take pictures in a group setting with girlfriends or siblings or whatever. And unfortunately, many people have discovered in their life that they have not been happy in a really long time. And so I tell ladies, okay, so if you're, and I have men too, but if you are excited about doing this vision board, take a selfie and print it out and put it on your board. But that's where everything, all the stuff on the board doesn't become other people's lives, doesn't become other, it's actually all about you, because it represents your self-image, which goes back to that idea of who is the $1 million Tammy. So, I mean, we're using $1 million, but it could be who is the successful Tammy, who is the, global impact for family Tammy. So that girl is in the center of the board, and everything else represents this amazing, gorgeous life that she leads. And I'm so glad you're doing it over 3 days. When I work with clients to do it online, we do it over 3 weeks, because this is one of the most important exercises you're going to do for yourself. It's one of the highest forms of self-care all year. I call it the new spa day. What could be more important than creating a vision for your life? Nothing. Because what you think about comes about. Like Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, all of these things are in The Secret. This is what we know, is by getting intentional, by getting it out of our head and on paper, you're 42% more likely to manifest simply by writing it down. You're 65% more likely to manifest if you add images and share it with someone. And you're 95% more likely to manifest if you have accountability, that you've got someone that you can trust, that you can start create goals off that vision board.
A lot of people maybe don't believe they deserve this life, or they don't believe they deserve to dream big. What did you do to step into your courage to accept that gift that you are meant to do something beyond being a supervisor or a director for 4 daycares or early childhood centers. And I'm sorry, because you're in Canada, so we don't always use the exact same language
It's
as
the
in the
same thing.
United
That's
States.
okay.
But what did you do to honor that intuition that you talked about? Because a lot of people have that intuition, but then they push it down.
Right. That's true. And, you know, an idea only has a very short gestation period. It's either going to be accepted or rejected. And if it's accepted, then what are you going to do about it? Get into action. So even simply writing it down is already giving it life. So I think about going to the Canfield retreat where I met you. I got that email. So, well, let me back up. So in 2021, I received just I had no connection to the Canfield. Oh no, that's not true. I had attended a 1 Day to Greatness in Boston. And then I had an invitation. It was a paid invitation to be interviewed by Jack Canfield. This is the middle of COVID. It's California. I live in Canada. There's an investment involved there. But I had the intuitive nudge, like, you need to go. You need to go do this. I hadn't done anything like that of that magnitude. So it's like, I forget, I guess when you ask me, how do I, about deserving or whatever, it's not about me. So this is where I'm looking at my business and it's about my business, which yes, it is me, but I'm like, what would grow my business? This is an amazing opportunity. And I'm always in the state of gratitude. So as I said, I'm a Christian. So I think, well, God has, like, there's a reason for everything. God has put this in my path. And here's actually what really got me starting my company was this question. What's the price you're paying for not following your dream? That moved me in such a dramatic way that's when that question, and then the follow-up question was, what's the price those around you are paying for you not following your dream? That was the day those questions prompted me to leave my full-time career and step full-time into my company. And so when I was in the interview with Jack, I did fly to California. I did do that. I wasn't sure, like, I was like, oh, should I bring a picture of my vision board? I mean, he's the godfather of vision boards. Oh, here, Jack, here's my vision board. Like, so I had a moment of doubt. So it's not like I don't ever have doubts. I absolutely do. But when I fire up my intuition and listen to it, as you know, we did when we were maybe 16, or we know we have those answers already within us. I brought my vision board and Jack was so impressed. He's like, this is awesome. He's like, get a shot of this, put this in the video. And I got to share my visionary process, which really a lot of it came from his teaching, but then combined with my Christian faith, combined with my early years background, he was so impressed with it. When we were done, I said to him, my first intuitive question, because actually as a Canadian, you probably know we're known for saying sorry. Like, we're always like, oh, sorry. We don't want to be bothered. Sorry. And so I felt myself getting into that mindset of being like, oh, I should probably just leave. The next person being interviewed is going to be coming in. And I thought, Deb, like, I literally talked to myself, Deb, you did not fly all the way to California just to be this polite Canadian and excuse yourself. Like, you have this opportunity one-on-one with Jack, like, make small talk. Like, what is wrong with you? And so the first thing that popped in my mind was, how can I support you? And he seemed taken aback by that.
Yeah. Because everybody's always asking Jack, can you support me? Oh my gosh, what happened next?
He said, well, you could become an affiliate. So I am, for his training programs. And he said, would you like to write a chapter in my next book?
Wow.
I was like, and then I said calmly, yes, that would be lovely. Thank you. The interview was the cake. The opportunity to write a chapter in his book was definitely the icing. And I had no idea that was going to come, that offer is coming. Neither did his team. we know Alice, and so his team was like, he what? And I said, as I'm walking out, I said, he apparently, like, and they're like, okay, all right, we're gonna roll with this. Here's the details. So last March, so this is in 2023, I got an email, and I haven't heard anything. The book has been slowed down because of COVID. And I got a private email in my inbox from Jack saying, I'm working on your chapter. And I thought it was a scam. I'm like, oh, sure.
Right.
Jack has my email, and I'm getting a personal email from Jack Canfield. Whatever. And then, so I responded, kind of not curt, but just like, oh, that's wonderful. And then he's like, yeah, could you, and he asked me for information. And I'm like, oh, I said to my son, oh my word, I'm having this whole conversation. That was in March. And then I got an invitation to go to the luxury retreat, which you and I attended. And I knew that I had to. These were just signs that were kind of piling up. And okay, I'm kind of skipping all over here, but in 2022, I declared I will do luxury retreats abroad with my own magazine. I had
Right.
no idea that was going to happen. I brought copies of my magazine that I did manifest in 5 weeks, October 22nd, or 2022. I declared it November 5th, 2022. I was on an airplane serving 12 women in Cape Cod. Like, it took 5 weeks to manifest. I brought copies of that last June. I hope that you got a copy. I'm not sure, but
No, I do. I'm using it for my vision board.
Yeah. And Jack, I have a picture of him holding it and like thinking it's awesome. I ended up using it to do a power word with Patty. She had me do a little mini vision board workshop in her retreat in Destin. But they used it for the Canfield Breakthrough to Success in California just last October, 2023. So it was merely an idea. October 2nd, 2022, and October 13th, 2023, there's 200 copies being used in California as Patty's doing a vision board experience in the Canfield training. How does that happen? It happens through manifestation. It happens through having an idea, declaring it, getting into action, following your intuition, and it manifests. Like, I get to live this when I teach. It's just extraordinary.
Tell us about your courageous journey to start the academy, where now you're basically giving your baby away, or entrusting other people with your vision.
It wasn't so much even about my team, like entrusting and delegating. I'd been doing that for many years as my role as a childcare director. I had, administrative staff, I had supervisors and so forth. It was actually the clients. So actually creating this product that I created from scratch, like I pulled from different sources, but I created this curriculum, I created this process that was working. And it took courage to say, and to actually stop saying, I'm giving this away, even though I'm really great with that now. But I'm like, what if someone does better than me? Like, I'm just being completely transparent here.
Right.
What if someone takes my product and all of a sudden they run the world with it? Or what if someone takes it and then changes it? What if, there was all these things that it's my baby and now I'm giving it away, even though, there's a transaction with money and so forth. That was the biggest hurdle that I needed to reconcile, and to understand that this is my purpose. My purpose was to create it and grow it. And if I just keep it to myself, like a candle without lighting others, it's only my single flame. And it's not going to make the world impact that I want. I need to pass it on so that people, like your name of your, right, that I'm passing it on so that we can then light up the world. And I can't do that by myself, which means that I have to get over myself and I have to trust. And what's happened, as I said, is I've created this gorgeous community. One of the things that I've done in my academy is I know what I don't like. So I've taken multiple, programs and so forth. And I don't like that when I'm finished investing in a program, I'm done. and there's like this sense of, you know, summer camp, like, bye, see you sometime, like maybe your paths will cross again. I hate that. And so what I did was I created where a monthly mastermind, because again, Jack talked about the mastermind, the power of it. So every month, anyone who's graduated in the past 3 years, going on 4 years, can come to these free calls. And we talk about wins. So we celebrate, we raise our vibration. We talk about challenges. I bring new information forward. And we have this gorgeous community. It's like, so I didn't even think about that. Like I said, when people gave me that cheers, like, you know, at that retreat and even last week, I did not imagine that when I first started the academy. And that's what's so beautiful when you let go and you surrender and you leave yourself open to receive. God always sends bigger and better. I can only base my manifestation on my memory and what's currently around me. But what's received is from the divine, which means it's always bigger and better.
I always, there's a talk I do called The Touch of the Master's Hand. And I always talk about where your dreams leave off is just where God's starting his dream for you.
Ah, thank you for that.
And it reminds me so much of you. What's the most empowering word on your vision board? You have few. So what's the most empowering word on your vision board?
Well, actually, I get to create my new vision board. I haven't done one for this year yet, but I have created my mini vision board, which is this one here. And my word for this year is ease.
Nice.
I was told as a child to relax.
Hmm.
Calm down. I have high energy. I still do. And I do not like the word. I do not like when people tell me that I should relax. I'm like, I am relaxed. This is me relaxed.
I can hear it in your voice.
Like I vacation, like I do stop, I do pause, I do plug in, but I love the idea of ease, that it's easy, so that everything comes easy. And so that's my way of being. So this is my power word. So I will be putting that on 2024's vision board as part of my self-identity, that I am a person who's at ease. And I think that also creates space for others to be the same with me. When I'm at ease, this, creates this beautiful safe space for others as well.
Well, I will tell you personally, that is exactly how I feel when I'm with you.
I remember our breakfast. Remember that? We had a breakfast and like the beautiful connection that we had is just it's only been 6 months, but it feels like years that I've known you.
Right? Yeah, it's hard to imagine that our paths hadn't crossed before then. Do you have a success board? You have a vision board. Do you also create a success to celebrate?
So one thing I have been accused of, and I was wondering if this is what you were getting at, is even like I teach this and I am always like in action. And I have, especially some of my really close inner circle friends are like, Deb, are you celebrating? Like, you know, like, I just ran a really kick-ass retreat for women. It was awesome. I brought in Erin Saxton. She flew in from New York. Like, she's like a 4-time Emmy award-winning TV producer, The View, Good Morning. Like, she's my collaborator. Like, what? I just did this amazing retreat at a boutique hotel. And I'm like, next, right? And my girlfriends are like, are you celebrating? And so I thought maybe that's what you're asking. So
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So it's very important to do that. Absolutely. And it was interesting. I had a conversation with my husband this morning and we're taking 2 weeks. So my way of celebrating also is shutting down, and that I'm closing my calendar. We're going to Punta Cana for 2 weeks. I'm closing my calendar. I'm going to serve my clients that are currently my clients, but I'm not going to do any sales calls. I won't be doing anything like this, like any extra kinds of activities. And I'm definitely going to the spa. So that's my celebration. That's my way to fill back up, to enjoy the fruits of my labor, so to speak. And I also do it in between too, but I could do more of that. I definitely know that, but this is my joy. Like talking to you, I feel like I'm celebrating with you. Like, I love this. I was looking forward to our call today. So when you love what you do, you don't need a vacation from it.
How do you define courage? And why does courage matter?
I'm going to use two other words, faith and fear, in that they both are the unknown. So you don't know what actually is going to happen, and it could be in a state of fear if you choose that. Faith requires believing in something that's unseen. So it takes courage to choose. So we can default to fear, and it takes courage to choose faith, because fear is that, especially like when you think about past grade 2 or grade 3, we start to accumulate fear, and more of this paradigm grows and it calcifies. And so to really crack that paradigm takes so much courage, because you don't know the future, but you don't know either. So that's how I would define courage, is to step into faith. It matters because we're either growing or dying. And if you stay in fear, that means that you are staying stagnant. And as you know, stagnant water rots. Like, anything that stays stagnant dies. And so this is where I love the work that I get to do around providing hope, providing vision and a future, because there's growth there. Now, for some people, it doesn't have to be fast. Like I said, I manifested my magazine in 5 weeks, but I've also taken me, in some cases, like 12 months, 18 months for something to manifest. Everything has its own gestation period. So having courage matters because it's the action. And the action takes a single idea and brings it into the reality. So, ideas have a very short gestation period, and it's, you can accept it or reject it, faith or fear. And so the courage is truly the elixir, or the fuel that gives you that direction into the action of faith.
What is the spark you want to be in the world?
What's the spark I want to be in the world? As Bob Proctor says, I want to leave everyone with the impression of increase. And I think that's really well said, in that, there's all these quotes, like, they may not remember what you did, but they'll always remember what you said. So I want to help people feel. So when they come in my energy, not even if I don't say anything, just smile, whatever, like, my energy, I want them to feel better about themselves. And then if we choose that we can work together and that we can be together, that I can help them in a more concrete way, that would be amazing. But that would be my spark, is that whether it just be passing on the street, that I can smile at a stranger and that they feel better about themselves and they can pass it on to someone else.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, because I know this is probably like exactly what you're not supposed to do during a podcast. I want to answer that question.
Please.
What spark is Debbi Sluys in this world? And my answer is dare to shine. She is the person that dares you to reach into your heart, find your calling, and shine it on the world. And it's interesting because right now, as I'm doing this whole campaign going into 2nd grade, that's exactly what I want people to do. And it didn't occur to me till just this moment that I learned that from you.
Oh. You were there when I declared it in front of Jack and Patty, and it took me painfully long to get there. But the concise statement that I came up with was, I have it written right over here above my computer: when I shine bright, others can't help but shine brighter too.
Say that like you mean it, woman. Go again.
When I shine bright, others can't help but shine brighter too. And you
Yes.
recorded it, and I'm so grateful. And yeah, so I have that actually on a recording. So there's another connection for the two of us. So thank you for that. So I want to be part of your mission. I love what you're doing with kids. And as I said, these giant manifestors, these people that are multi-millionaires who are so influential in the world, they all had that adult who poured into them and spoke over them this beautiful vision of their self-image and understanding that their current circumstances don't need to create their future reality. So you are that person, and I just love it, and I want to continue to support you in your mission.
What will be better in the world because Debbie was here?
I feel humbled by that question. Like right away, what will be better? There will be, coaching will be better, because coaches need this process. It's being presented in a way that's like very flippant, like a party, like an hour exercise, not giving it the full respect that it deserves, that people get to be really intentional and to plan their vision. And then coaches will be able to have this tool to be able to use that within their full coaching with their clients. So I really believe that I'm impacting the coaching field in offering this tool for people that are working with families, teens, couples, grief coaches, anyone that's offering. I actually have a therapist as one of my clients, doctor. So anyone that's in the helping field, that this tool is supporting people and growing their impact with their clients.
And the next question, what's next?
I'm really focusing in on networking. I'm also being more bold in my Christian faith. And so that's just overall, like this, my self-identity is that I'm a minister's daughter. And so, my faith was always front. I mean, I literally lived in front of the church for most of my life with my parents. And so then for years, I kind of wanted to hide that and not have that be visible. And I'm realizing that in this work, you can't not talk about God. And so it just, like you said, it's where your dream ends and God's begins. Like it just, and so I'm surrounding myself more with faith-based, I'll say, people, and also embracing my own Christian beliefs. And as in business, I'm going to be starting a membership program, and it's going to be combined with a physical product of an agenda and planner. And that actually came from Jack. When I asked him what I need to do, he said, write a book. And I don't want to write a book. And Patty said, don't write a book. Make an agenda planner. And I'm like, I love that. So I'm still taking hot seat advice from the two of them. It's taken me a while though, because I really want it to be something I would use, which I love big coils. So I wanted to have be an agenda that's, so looking at that, connecting, that's what I'm looking at in my business, is combining a membership program with an agenda planner.
Thank you so much for being a guest today. Thank you for being the first person I saw in Nashville and setting up a trajectory where you help people of this world dare to shine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening and being inspired to exercise your own courage muscle. Please leave us a rating on whatever platform you are listening. For even more, you can go to www.authormyday.com. Remember, you only have this one life, this one day, so always author your day. Thanks for listening to Pass It On, connecting soul to soul.